Well, we are live. I don't know how that's going to roll with YouTube. So that means we're live on YouTube. How the hell does that work? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Donald Trump's in court today. What the heck? What the heck is happening in court? Donald Trump is in court, waiting on the jury. Waiting on the jury. They want me to sign in on this silly phone. I don't know how that works. All right, we'll sign in. And that means we have to remember the password. Oh my goodness, what does it mean? Manage accounts. Oh boy. I don't know about that. Manage accounts. Manage accounts. Samsung account settings. How about we just go to YouTube? Let's see. How about we just go to YouTube has its own studio, but I think I'm not really allowed to use it properly. This is weird. A lot of shit here. A lot of stuff here. Sign in. Couldn't sign in. Problem signing into your account. Let's try it again. Checking info. Yep, it's me. It's me. It's me. They want my password. Like, you think I can remember that? I have many options here. And how am I supposed to remember that? Let's see if they're going to let me sign in. Uh-oh, they didn't like that password. We got to try again. Uh-oh. This is getting weird. 21. Let's try the big number. Oh dear. Oh dear. Shucks. I'll try one more silly thing. Nope. We got password. Got to look it up. Got to reset it. Somebody probably stole it. Check your cricket. Okay, we're checking the cricket. It's me, near Dallas. Good thing you changed that. So yeah, I'm sorry if you're watching and it's slowed down. We're going to start it all over in a little bit so you can check back. No problem signing into your account. Looks like I did sign in though. Well, we are streamed. Well, that's pretty cool. this. What happened? Oh, we're still there. Well, that's no good. Let's try something different. Can't do much about the lighting. Does that do anything? Oh boy. Oh, we're still live streaming, bro. Welcome back. Welcome back to the new cookie hour. We're not baking cookies today. We're not baking any cookies today. We're not baking any cookies today. We're not drinking any Heineken. Keine Heineken. Keine Heineken. Nix Heineken. Not. We are live. Four-letter words are forbidden. The lighting is limited. Now give them $20 a month for what? Does it say that I will get a better picture? Ha 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 ha. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. What else? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? What are you doing? Scrolling the news. So am I. scrolling the news because I want to find out what happened today in New York City. I don't want to hear another word about Robert De Niro. Kamala Harris is not allowed on my page. Obama's not allowed on my page. There's quite a few people I don't put on my page. I've been thinking about this National Socialism a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. Here's the deal on that, though, and consider it. I don't know what you guys consider white nationalism, but how is it we would be attracting new people if it's just white nationalism? Isn't that alienating to some 30 or 40% of Americans who might identify as some level of Hispanic, indigenous, or black? So I just wonder about how that's supposed to build up to a party. Certainly, the 81 million people, well, they stole 10 million votes. So the 71 million people that voted for Donald Trump, they're not likely to jump into a party that's called white nationalism. So, maybe I don't understand it. On a small scale, we can talk about it. But if we're talking about political parties like the California Peace and Freedom Party, which was destroyed by Lenora Falani and her friends in 1988 in the Oakland Convention Center by pre-ordering a conference room at 2 hotels simultaneously, causing a flip-flop of delegates to refuse to seat a quorum, and then moving the delegates across the street and making a quorum. And through the quorum, the new group decided that since they have the majority of delegates and a quorum, they could select Lenora Falani as their presidential candidate. That was 1988. So actually, I remember all this. And you guys that don't know inside politics very much should understand this is what's happened with the Libertarian Party. The delegates were rounded up in the different areas, people willing to spend money to show up to the convention at their own expense. The Libertarian Party has no money to pay for airfare. And the delegates showed up, and they elected some LGB 30-something named Chase somebody. I don't really care what his name is. I know what they did. I wasn't there, but I was in Oakland in 1988 when Lenora Falani and her gooks took over the Peace and Freedom Party, essentially relegating it to the trash bin of California history. So they got their person on the ballot so that they could raise their money, so that they could steal from the matching funds that you get when you're on the ballot. So the Libertarian Party chose this guy named Chase. I think his name was Chase Morgan, but I don't want to say it wrong, so I don't really care what his name was. They chose this gay guy, period. And nobody else. Nobody else. I wasn't there. I don't know how many choices they had. I suppose anybody could have put their name up for Libertarian candidate president for the convention for the votes of the delegates. Obviously, if I'd put my name up, I would have to go find out who those delegates are and schmooze them, buy some rubber chicken dinners. Rubber chicken. Oh yeah, we gotta have the tranny rights. Well, I'm all about the tranny rights. I get in a lot of trouble with straight people talking shit. I hope I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. Poopy, poopy, poopy. It's how it works. The delegates are people interested in the party. They apply to the party to become delegates, or they are appointed. Once they are delegates, they are expected to show up to the convention. At the convention, all of the delegates present will select a presidential candidate. Therefore, somebody like Mr. Chase will need to ensure in advance that he has, or maybe she's a she, I don't know her pronouns, that she has an adequate amount of delegates to whip ass. I hope that's good on YouTube. To whip ass from all the other delegates, candidates. In other words, as far as I'm concerned, you could have 30 delegates, 2 candidates, and one of them didn't do any homework. One of them went out drinking. One of them didn't schmooze, didn't get any phone numbers, didn't get any emails, didn't show up to any fundraisers. One of them is absolutely unknown. And the other one, Chase, Mr. Chase, he's known. He's a known entity. He's been on the phone. He's got some text messages out there. He showed up at some clubs, some bars, some fundraisers, some restaurant. He may have got some fundraising privately. Long story short, like I said, supposing, hypothetically, that there are 30 delegates interested in showing up to wherever it was that the Libertarians had their convention. So let's say all 30 show up. And there's 2 people to choose from. Let's say there's 10. It doesn't really matter. And what's going to happen is they're all going to vote. The delegates are going to vote. They're voting for, to be clear to you, they're voting for the person that they will put on their ballot. So when you get your presidential ballot in November and it says Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, other party, the Libertarians, they don't put 5 names on the ballot, they put 1. That's going to be Mr. Chase. Mr. Chase did his homework, schmoozed, rubber chicken dinnered. Who knows what he did? But I'll bet you, to get a majority of delegates, let's say out of the 30, 15 would be a majority, or 15 could be a tiebreaker. So 16 delegates out of 30. And I don't know the exact details. So that's 16 people you need to call on the phone. Hello, how are you? I'm Chase. I've been a member of the Libertarian Party since the Gay Pride event in Atlanta back 2, 3, 4 years ago. I got really interested in the Libertarian Party, and I support everything. I support legalized prostitution. I support abortion until day 2 of birth, or 9 months plus. That's what they're going to do. They're going to call their delegates. They're going to say, what is the Libertarian Party? What is our platform? As a matter of fact, these delegates and these people will get together in advance and hammer out the platform, to use an expression, hammer it out. Hammer it out. Hammer that copper until it's the way you want it to be. Hammer it out. That's called. Actually, technically, they do that platform at the convention. Technically. But you got to understand, it's all been pre-written. So people come to the convention, bring your issues. You're a delegate, bring your issues. I'm a delegate. I live in Mountain Town, New Jersey. What are my issues? We got broken bridges. Is that a Libertarian Party issue? It doesn't matter. I want it in the platform. Libertarians want to repair bridges. So you've got to work with the other delegates present to get your issue on the platform. My issue is gender dysphoria. I want money for clinics, to establish gender dysphoria clinics where nobody has to pay. How do you get that on the platform? And don't get me wrong, I don't want any of it. You get it on the platform by hammering it out at the convention. So you pre-write everything, you do your homework, you know what your issue is. We want to build bridges, we want to open clinics, we want free clinics, we want this, we want that, we want to legalize this, legalize that. It's going to end up on the platform if enough of the people involved, which would, I believe, would be the delegates, vote for it. So you hammer out the platform. Now, whether the platform is written before the candidate is approved, I'm not sure. But Chase comes in. He's got, let's say, 16 people. He's talked to them on the phone. Who knows? For all I know, 2 or 3 of them could be right there from Atlanta. One of them could be his roommate. This is how it works. One of them could be his coworker. His coworker knows somebody in Philadelphia. They call their friend up in Philly. You want to be a delegate for the Libertarian Party? Sure, what do I have to do? Well, you're going to have to get your butt to the convention on such and such date in late May. I can do it. Okay, so they've schmoozed and rubber chickened their holes. And they're ready. So let's cut to the chase. Ha ha. Chase was elected. Donald Trump gave him a way out. Put me on your ballot. Hilarious. I don't know technically how that was going to work. Of course, I guess he knew that he wasn't going to be on the ballot. Not for the Libertarian Party. But they could have put him on the ballot. Somebody could have volunteered. Hello? I recommend. Okay, do we have a second approval? Motion to approve. Second approval. Second approval. 2 people vote at the convention to put Donald Trump on the ballot. I don't think that happened, but it could happen. It could have happened. Then what would have happened hypothetically if Donald Trump would have been on the Libertarian ballot approved by the delegates? What would have happened is that you would get a November ballot and Donald Trump would be listed on the Libertarian Party. Donald Trump would be listed on the Republican Party. We still hope so. Hemp seeds are good for you. And I meant to get some more coffee before I run this, but I know I'm going slow and I doubt if it's recorded. So if Trump had been on 2 things and then people would have gone, normal election, November 5th, I could have said, I want to vote for Donald Trump. I'm going to vote for him with the Republican Party. I'm going to give him votes on the Libertarian Party. I honestly don't know how that could possibly roll because Donald Trump could get votes from both parties and he could win the election. So, but when you put somebody like Chase on, or take somebody you've heard their name, Gary Johnson. Let's say Gary Johnson got on. He didn't. Let's stay with Chase. So you put Chase on. So Chase gets 100 votes in this area, 100 in that area, and it comes out to be 0.09%, not even 1%. Because I guarantee you, people are so hyped on this election. Libertarian Party is going to get shit no votes. I hope that's not a bad word. Poopy no votes. They're not going to get any votes. They're going to get a few loose, gay, crazy tranny votes because the rest of the gay trannies are going to be voting Democrat. I guarantee you. Unless they're like me and they're fed up with all the crappy crap to poopy and they're done with it. I'm done with Democrats. So, I'm not alone. There's others. So where are we at? Chase is now on the Libertarian ballot. Donald Trump gave him a way out, put me on the ballot. That was a possibility. Or he gave him 2 ways out. Or whoever you put on your ballot, doesn't matter. When you get November 5, vote for me, Donald Trump. So Donald Trump gave him a way out. But really, he said, look, I'm going to support the issues that I can. He got a lot of applause for a number of issues. Donald Trump at the Libertarian Convention got a lot of applause, and anybody can verify this. Forget mainstream media. He got a lot of applause for restoring schools to the states, meaning states will decide what kind of curriculum. Okay, but we don't even have to talk about it. It's moving it from federal to states curriculum. So that's interesting, but it's not just curriculum, it's what happens in schools. So I don't know the technicalities of that either, because let's say in my area, a school decides to have a gender dysphoria clinic, or have a drag queen story time, or do pronouns in the classroom. So that's up to each district. They could say, oh, we can't do that. They could deal with any kind of lawsuits like, why can't we do that? It's public. I'm not going to go into it. Restoring schools to the states means something to some people. It means that parents are more likely to have a say in what their schools allow and don't allow. So he got a lot of applause for that. In other words, people want involvement. Yes, Nick Robertson, are you here? I am a Trump supporter. This is not herb. This is tobacco and Mullen. You're not allowed to roll herb on YouTube, even if you have a medical license. Hey, Nick, it's cool to meet you. Glad you're watching. I'll try to speed it up then. I didn't know I had any watchers. So, long story short, Libertarian chose Chase, and he's not going to get any votes. But Trump did appeal to the Libertarians in general. And I love Trump. I really do. It wasn't always that way. It came slow, but it sped up like a roller coaster. And the more they attacked Trump, the more I wanted. I'm an underdog. I like the underdog. And I'm going to fight for the underdog. And Trump is now the underdog. A lot of people that do it, grow it, smoke it. Yeah, but I don't have a license right now to have medical marijuana. Although we have recreational marijuana in New Mexico, so we are allowed to have it. So I guess I'm not breaking a law if it's got marijuana in it. Um, I'll promote it later, but just right now I'm trying to stay as PG as I can. But everybody knows I'm not PG. My friends know I'm not PG. Ah, but yeah, it's interesting. I'm totally a Trump supporter. So anyway, he gives the Libertarian Party a bit of a chance, and it's not like they need a chance. They're doing fine. You're right. I don't need the medical card anymore because we approved recreational, and I'm in New Mexico, so we can have recreation. I can walk into a dispensary and buy anything I want. I'm over 18, and I'm legal to have it. I don't think you're legal to uh, smoke and drive, but you can certainly possess it. And anyway, it's cool. And I'm really happy that we passed these laws over the years. I was involved in this in way back before 1996 in California. My friend did Proposition P, and we moved forward with Proposition 215, medical marijuana. Met Jack Herrera, so I have a big background in that. So the Libertarian Party, I don't think they're going to get many votes, but Trump did say, look, if you don't want to vote for the candidate the delegates select, consider voting for me. And then, mainstream media said, well, he got a few boos. Well, there was an orchestrated group in the back. Well, we're going to get it legal, Nick, where you live, one way or another, because we have to, because we can't punish people for smoking a joint. We really shouldn't. And but it's been decriminalized. Well, decriminalized, sometimes that means like a certain amount is okay. So I'd have to see what that is state by state. If when I'm looking for information on marijuana, I go to NORML, N as in Nancy, OR, ML, and they have a list of all the states. Yeah, thank you for bringing it up because that was the other thing he got tremendous applause for, and that's the only thing that mainstream media wanted to carry. Um, I'd like to look into that guy a little bit more. And Bitcoin is really important. And that on the Bitcoin question, he said we would not have the federal bank do a digital currency. And I think it shows, one, we're not really ready for that, and two, uh, the whole point of Bitcoin supposedly is to keep your money private and out of the hands of other people who would spy on you, who would report you, like $600 to the IRS, and they want to know where you spent your money, technically. So yeah, so he got a lot of applause. I'll just slow it down. He got a lot of applause for about 3 or 4 issues, Bitcoin being one. And anybody can say I like Bitcoin, but he made a very specific promise. We will not do a digital currency. And I think that's really incredibly important. Yeah, I agree. And my friend, who is a very ultra conservative guy, says if you can't touch it, hold it, then what is it? We can talk about rolling papers, but I can't get it out of a digital. I need to hold it in my hand. It's valuable. And I like cash. And I think we should make sure we continue with cash because essentially, why should the government be knowing every penny that you have in your bank? Why should they know every single penny? It used to be when I would file taxes, you say, okay, I earned this much on a W 2 form. And then they'd say, did you earn anything else? Did you sell anything? So those are delicate questions. I mean, sure, I used to report under the table work. Let's say I thought maybe I earned $600 this year under the table. I would report it because I was always carried in the pretty much under the poverty line, so it didn't really matter to me. I was happy to report my income. But I can understand that some people may say, I did a car repair for $300. Why should I report that? You know, um, we're not talking about people opening up an ice cream parlor and not reporting their income. We're not talking about people opening a bar and having a double set of books, as was the norm and may still be for all I know. So we're not talking about depriving the government of their taxes. I mean, most people think if I sewed a pair of something, if I sewed something for you at home, and let's say I made $600 over the course of the year, it's not something I feel like I should report. Yeah, I know a lot of people, my friend wanted me to take my money out of the bank, but I'm not ready to do that. So I'm going to roll a regular cigarette now, tobacco, just because I do smoke, Nick, and I don't recommend it. I don't know your age, but it's not the best habit. I had it for a long time. It's nice to talk to somebody. I would say know where your money is, and it's like my conservative friend said. Look, if there's a run on the banks, you're not going to make it in time. By the time there's 20 people in line, they're just going to lock the front door. So it is a risk we take. I used to just cash my check and run cash because, I mean, technically, the only reason I had a bank account was just to have a place to cash my check. Otherwise, you're going to use a payroll service. They can charge you 3%, maybe more. So if you make it $400, you're paying 3, 6, 9, $12 a week to a nobody. You're paying a middleman for your money. Right on, brother. I appreciate that. I'm sober since 1989. I do not drink alcohol. Do not drink alcohol. Yeah, and I smoke herb, and I feel it's good for me. Uh, we can talk about that sometime too. Yeah, so that's a libertarian issue. The the weed should be legal. Like right now, the libertarians should be taking this up. We passed recreational marijuana in New Mexico, and there is a 30% additional taxation on every club. So not only do you have to pay whatever the standard is as far as profits go to the state of New Mexico, and I don't know how federal works, but you have to pay an additional 30% to the state of New Mexico. So, yeah, I went to, I ended up at a party celebrating the election, not just that election, but the whole general thing. I guess it was 1 or 2 years ago. And there's this cool lady, she had on a marijuana t shirt. And I said, "Where'd you get that?" And she says, "Oh, my son pushed for this recreational marijuana and he's opening a dispensary." So that was cool. But I told her, and I think I was in a Republican crowd, and I told her, I said, "Well, but I don't think it's right to have to pay an additional 30%. So let's say I sell gadgets, and for some reason I have to pay 30% more tax on my gadgets than my neighbor who sells ice cream, groceries, hardware." So that was what they call the bone, give the dog a bone. Well, the dog is the legislature or the state of New Mexico, and the people who wanted it legal went along with it. We maybe, it's a question. If we would have not given the dog a bone, would we still have dispensaries and recreational marijuana, or would we be stalling out? New Mexico was one of the worst states for marijuana. They smoke marijuana in large proportion, but they refused to have medical marijuana until just like 10, 11 years ago. And so I'm really glad we have recreational marijuana, but we had to pay a price. If you open a dispensary, you have to pay an additional 30% above your neighbor in taxes to the state. And supposedly, I guess it's going to go to drug free network, keep kids off drugs. I have no idea what the state of New Mexico wants to do with that money. Yeah, I was going to look up and see what Trump was doing today. I am 100% medical marijuana. I'm 100% recreational marijuana. In fact, we would have loved to have legal marijuana in California in 1996, but I worked with the fellow named Dennis Peron, and it was his view that we needed to take things one step at a time. That was coming out of the AIDS epidemic, and we had actually run a club, or Dennis ran a club, and I was associated with it, and with that, we had to push for medical marijuana. That pisses me off. That's why I started this live stream. I mean, some of the pundits over the last few days were talking about whether he'd get one charge, two charges, to convict him on all 34 charges. I honestly don't know what to think about it. I mean, I honestly don't know what to think about it. Now, I don't know if they're going to try to turn this into he can't run or he can't be on a ballot. I think it's a revolution in progress. It is a joke, and it is political prosecution, lawfare at its finest. And how the heck did we get here? How the heck did we really get here? How is it? I mean, I'm terrible. I'm on this gab.com. I'm terrible. I just sometimes I even use bad words because they don't censor. Good. I can't wait to hear it, and I'm going to watch it live because I'm not working, and I can watch it live, and I will be watching it live. Like this is what happened. Not only did I switch, well, I'm like a lot of people. It turns out a lot of people got burned by Bernie Sanders, and they saw it's like the Wizard of Oz, and the screen was opened up, and we saw who was behind Bernie Sanders. Nobody but Democrats. He was a phony, in my opinion. So that's when I switched. And Howie Hawkins was running from his basement in Philadelphia on the Green Party ticket. So I went with the Green Party ticket. Uh, But I don't remember if I voted for Howie or Trump. I know that I refused to vote for the Democrat. And so fast forward, within a week after that last election, I changed my registration first from Democrat to Green Party. I voted in 2020 as Green Party, but I didn't necessarily vote for Howie Hawkins. I didn't like him really that much. I realized right away he was a nobody. And within a week after the election, I re-registered as a Republican. So I guess you could say I'm one of the new Republicans, and and I will stay a Republican. I will never go back to Democrats. See, I'm 62 years old, and 40 years of my life, we had gay rights. Number one, we had that. We had hate crimes. That covered the whole gamut, the entire alphabet. From celibate to metrosexual, everybody was covered under the hate crime laws. Still are, in my opinion. We didn't need all this baloney, and the Democrats are full of crap. And once I saw this identity politics, these are nobody. This is not grassroots. These are nobody. And we end up with a suitcase thief in Washington. What was his job? I don't even know. Bootleg, nobody wants to talk about him because he doesn't do shit. I think I can say it on YouTube. He doesn't do anything. What a jerk. Barge bumps into a bridge in Baltimore. And where's Pete? There's no Pete. Pete and repeat. Where's Pete? There is no Pete. That whole identity politics makes me upset because it's not grassroots. It's not people at the bottom struggling to pay rent. I worked in a print shop. How much do you make in a print shop? Now you can make 15 or 20 an hour in California, but there aren't many print shops. I wouldn't do it. Let me keep reading, Nick. Yeah. Oh, Bummer is his name. This is another thing. All this identity politics is phony. That's why they never say the word Harvey Milk, because Harvey Milk, I don't think, did that. Harvey Milk wanted rent control, limited high-rise development specific to San Francisco, where he was running for city council. And I kind of sum it up as community autonomy. So if gays can have a community in the Castro in San Francisco, then why can't white nationalists have a community wherever they live? Why can't a group of black people get together and say, you know, we're buying into this neighborhood. It's primarily black. We'd like to keep it that way. Harvey Milk was a gay community, a gay neighborhood. We didn't own the whole city. They had one little neighborhood. Paint the houses. Call it the Castro. Have parties. Get a permit. Have a street parade. This identity politics has been a joke. And it's just another thing that the Democrats did to divide us. Right on. Okay. I got you on the Christianity. And I actually signed up with a course with Hillsdale College called Ancient Christianity. I'm moving slow with it because if and when I do talk about it, I want to be clear and not say the wrong things. I want to say the right things. I want to say correct things. I want to say historically correct things. That's a whole nother ballpark. You know, I got hung up when Noah, somebody was knocking on the door and said, apparently you have two people in there. I guess they were angels and they need to come out so we can sodomize them, quote, sodomize them. So, you know, I'm still wrapping my head around what the true meaning of sodomy is, not just some sexual action, but it seems to me to be like rape. So It's a tough one. And I'm older. I'm not cruising around. I have no interest. I mean, what can I do? Um, I, I practiced Buddhism for so long, but Buddhism is about not being attached. So I don't have to be attached to Buddhism. I can definitely explore Christianity. I was raised with Christianity. Christianity touched my heart when I was 6 years old. It was the 700 Club. My mom was at work till 5 p.m. A lot of stress in our household. I was a little boy. I loved the 700 Club, 3 in the afternoon. They said, touch the TV. People make jokes about it. I touched the TV. I prayed for my mom. I prayed for my family because I was a suffering child and I needed outreach and I didn't have outreach. There was nobody to call. So and Christianity's been part of who I am my whole life. There's no doubt about that. And another thing about this is the Democrats want to divide us, and this is wrong. We're a Christian nation. Nobody can argue that. They want to argue it, but we're a Christian nation. We're founded in Christian values. My grandfather walked to school from West Virginia. The whole community is Christian oriented. I doubt there were any Muslims in West Virginia in 1921 or something. My mom was pretty liberal, but we had Christian values. She wanted us to go to church at some point, but she chose the hippie church, the Unitarian church. So I was exposed to this. I know that some fundamentalists criticize the Unitarian church, but I was exposed to the love of Christ early on. And I've always been a place where I believe there was something beyond ourselves. So I don't have a problem praying to God. And I always tell people ask, believe, and receive. And believe is very important. You have to believe. People want to talk about leprechauns and manifestation. Well, and then I tell them about why don't you pray to Jesus? Why don't you just ask God? And they kind of laugh at me. And I'm like, dude, you can flip a coin, you can do magic, you can read your tarot cards, but can you literally believe in God? Why can't you believe in God? What are we going to do about Trump? I guess we're not going to do anything about him, but we're going to support him. I'm going to support him all the way. I'm going to support him all the way. It's coming up June 1st. I'm sitting in an RV. I bought this RV. It's clean, very clean, especially on the outside, very clean. So my idea is at some point I'm going to have a Trump banner. At some point I am going to have a Trump banner. I'm willing to pay for it. If it costs $60, I don't care. I'll buy one. Or I mean, I'm an artist. I'm a painter. I could paint it nice, but I'll probably buy a nice professional banner, put it on the back of the RV wherever I go. It's going to say Trump. We can't let this country destroy us. And it's not the country is just an entity. It's the people running the country. These Democrats are trying to destroy us. They're trying to separate and divide us. The gays are 10% of the population maximum. I don't care what they say. People are more sexual today than they were yesterday. Students in high schools do surveys. They're more bisexual today than yesterday. Not necessarily. It's just that people are more vocal. And when you're doing an anonymous survey, you may say anything. So you can't even depend on these surveys. Let me catch up to you. I got Trump gear. Yeah, I don't even have a Trump hat. I need a Trump hat. But I don't want to alienate anybody too quick. But I'm planning on traveling a little bit over the summer. I may even go to a hippie festival type thing. And I'm not going to let anybody push me into a corner. And if anybody even begins a political conversation and they even talk about Democrats, I'm going to shut them up. I'm going to shut them up. I'm going to ask them, what has the Democrats done for you in the last 10 years? As a matter of fact, I've said this to other people. The Democrats haven't done a single thing for gay rights. You know what? Gay people got more gay rights through the Supreme Court in the last 2 years than the Democrats have provided in the last 20. It's true. It's actually true. You have an airbrushed hat? Yeah, 7.6 might be a little bit more accurate. It's hard to say. Like, it's just people say, oh, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. This is if you put yourself in, my friend told me a long time ago, you put yourself in a box, you're going to be in the box. So I'm this, I'm in the box. People like to put themselves in boxes. I'm not going to put myself in a box, but I'm actually off grid in the middle of nowhere. Most of the people I know are heterosexual, straight, as they say. I was called out as a gay 24 years ago, and I told the lady who gave me the nickname that it's fine. If it helps you identify me, I'll accept it. But I always had a problem with that whole concept. You're gay, well, that means something. That means a specific thing. And you know, when you're young, when I was young, I was like, why should I put myself in a box, a category, and seal it shut forever? How do I know what my future will bring? Maybe I would want to live with somebody down the road. Maybe it would be a woman down the road. I don't want to live with a transsexual. I don't have any desire that way. I feel sorry for a lot of people. I feel they try to play games and they end up tremendously disappointed. I even feel sorry for a lot of gay couples because I think a lot of gay couples are just in it for the show and tell. They're not like really best friends necessarily. Some are, of course, but not all. All right. Yeah, I think Nick, you might be an older person, but that's okay. I agree with all of this. They took God out of the school. Let's talk about that. What happens when you take God out of the school? What happens when you remove the Pledge of Allegiance? I taught school in 2019, and those kids, the first time we did Pledge of Allegiance, they were mumbling, they were looking over there, they were scuffling chairs, they were jumping into each other's chairs and pulling out a deck of cards. I mean, I might be exaggerating, but I snapped on them. I literally snapped on them because I'm still old school. I spent a few years in North Carolina and a few years in Texas. And I said, look, there's somebody from this school sitting in the principal's office as we speak, using the public PA, and they are reading, reciting the Pledge of Allegiance for the entire school. And as far as I know, it was for all three schools because it was a small district where you have three schools in the same parking lot: elementary, middle, and high school. So I snapped on him and I said, I'm 62, by the way. And I said, look, we are doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and it is only respectful. Come on in, my friends here. It is only respectful to face the flag, stand, and for the rest of the people, you can be quiet. If you don't want to make the pledge, then sit in your. So I was maybe the kids actually love me a lot because I was not a hypocrite. So I said, hey, I'll be with you in a minute. I'm wrapping up a video. But come on in and help yourself. Heat up the water and make coffee if you like. Thank you. My friend is here. He's a good guy, good man, good gentleman, good young man, honest person, good man. Very few left like that. So anyway, I made him face the board, not the board, the flag. Why do we have a flag in the classroom if we're not going to face it? So I made him do that. And I got a lot of respect out of it. And I said, because number one, you're not just respecting your flag, you're not just putting a little respect to your country, but you should be respecting the other kids in this school because you are all the people from this community. We don't go through life pretending that we don't exist, separating each other. As one of your peers is in the principal's office reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, the least you could do is stand, place your hand on your heart, and be with it for a minute. And so I can only tell you I have firsthand experience with that, and I think it's important. And the reason it's important is because if you take that out of the classroom, you don't have that minute. What are we going to have? A minute of silence for yoga?
Brother,
a minute of silence for the Buddha?
here you go, brother.
Thank you. Leave that right there.
And I got more. That's for
And I'm
for later.
Okay.
For you for later.
When you get your coffee, you can sit in that chair, and if I wrap up the video, I'm just experimenting with this live stream. I have to stay PG and say nice words.
All right.
So anyway, it's cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and you know, and I had a tranny in my class too. Excuse my language. On the computer, he was a boy. And the only picture, for some reason, they refused to update the picture. He was a boy. But he was coming in with these silly shoes and these girly socks and his hair, and he's Spanish and was doing some curly stuff with it, an eyeliner. And he was sitting there very still, and he wouldn't talk, he wouldn't participate. And so I didn't use pronouns, and the school never issued a memo on it because I think that came after 2019. And in private, some other kids said, "Hey, is he a boy or a girl?" And I said, "Ask him." You know, already I'm in trouble. Ask him. You know, I didn't think it was my job to worry about it. I was told by the principal that I was there to teach a certain subject matter, English as language arts, and in specific, 8th grade. Well, I didn't have 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. She told me, don't do anything with the 12th grade. They're leaving. 11th grade, get them ready for standardized tests. 10th grade, get them ready for standardized tests. They actually wanted me to teach to a certain question. 9th grade, get them on essays. So I just didn't play the games. And kids are really great. I think you might have to go, so I want to thank you for helping me make a good show here. Hey guys, my friends here, I'm going to let it go because this has been a grand experiment. And look, 58 minutes, that's enough. That's more than enough. We are totally Trump. Go by Queer Wire. I have no reason to change that right now. We're totally Trump. We don't change our mind. We don't go backwards. We're going forward. Had a really great guest on the show, Nick. Nick told me Trump has been charged with 34 counts, guilty. It's really upsetting. And we have to do something about it. Don't know what we have to do. We're going to wear our insignia. We're going to wear our banners. I'm going to paint Trump on my van. No, I'm going to get a Trump sticker on the van. I'm going to make it known. I'm not doing Democrat stuff. They haven't done anything for us for 40 years. I have challenged other liberals. Tell me what a Democrat has done for you. They go silent. They cannot answer the question. They've taken us to war. I'm anti-war. Trump didn't have a war for 4 years. He'll get us out of war. We may be out of war before November. I will pray, Nick. And that's another story. Why do I pray? But I pray because, you know, you can play with leprechauns, you can read the tarot, you can look for your fortune cookie, but you can also just pray to God. So listen, I'll close out the show with a prayer. I pray for everybody out there who supported Trump in 2016. I pray for everybody who supported Trump in 2020. I pray for everybody who's supporting Trump right now. I pray that we be strong, we grow together, we find strength together, we determine our lives, and we have an America that is true diversity, not fake DEI. I pray for each and every person out here to be strong, courageous, thoughtful, and united, that we can live in the America that we dream of. It is a Christian nation. I'm not ashamed of it. I thank you very much. Amen. Thank you, Nick. Good night. That was a first.